Today we are talking all about how we can stretch our lower body. And it's very similar in how we do our upper body. Again, we want to make sure that we're working our muscle groups that they're even. So if you're working to stretch out one side of your foot, make sure you're stretching everything. So I've incorporated our toe stretches again and making sure that we bring out our foot both directions like a washcloth essentially. That helps to loosen up all of the little muscles in our feet. Whenever you're stretching, you want to make sure that you're working your alignment properly. So making sure that you're either parallel, everything from the hips to the knees to the feet out of your toes, or engaging your turnout, in which case that movement has to come from your hips. I have also included how to stretch with our tennis balls, and today I incorporated a softball for those who are wanting to try a different type of ball. They do slightly different things. The tennis balls are softer and a little bit more forgiving, but they pinpoint, whereas our softballs are much harder and they're a little bit more broad, but they definitely target deeper sometimes than the foam rollers do. All the same rules apply, where you never want to be rolling over your joints due to the ligaments and the tendons. Those are not as forgiving as our muscles, so make sure that you're definitely avoiding those. We want to make sure that we avoid bones, so things like our shins. When we go to roll in the example that I gave of our hips, we need to make sure that we're avoiding the bones in our hips and like our sit bones. So you want to make sure that you're actively aware of your muscle groups. If you're not sure, I strongly encourage that you do not foam roll until you have a better understanding of your body and somebody can actually show you and demonstrate better how to do these things. Again, these videos are to complement the things that I teach our dancers in class, and these should not be standalone videos. There should definitely be somebody teaching you properly how to do all of these things. When we're working some of our stretches, some of our more flexible dancers may actually choose to use foam blocks, in which case these become a great tool for getting your muscles to relax. I am giving the example of splits. When we do the splits, we traditionally use a turned out split for ballet. Our jazz dancers and hip hop will oftentimes be parallel, and that's a different type of training. Our ballet dancers still cross train to stretch out in the parallel position, as I've given in the examples. They just don't traditionally do the splits in the parallel positioning. Some of our less flexible dancers may also opt to use the block because it works you at a different angle. So when you get your muscles to relax, essentially you're working ahead of what your body can technically do. When you take the block away, you should find that it is easier to get into the splits. That doesn't mean you're going to have them. It takes time. It's another way of training, which I did not incorporate in today's video. I just wanted to be able to let you know that that is an option that some of our dancers will do in our conditioning classes. I'm going to start by having us just do a few basic stretches just to loosen up, in which case, again, you should always be stretching on a warm body, and I will be giving you a video later on in the year on good warm-up practices. But for today, we are stretching out our lower body, and we're going to start with our ankles, just letting them roll each direction. One of the things that I also like to have our dancers do is stretch out to the side, in which case you want to gently roll that foot out. You're not putting your body weight on it. It's just a light stretch up the side of your leg, right through here. Given the fact that that is one of the most common muscles for us to tear if we land wrong, And so it's not a guarantee, but it does help if that muscle is pre-stretched out to make sure that we're less likely to damage ourselves. When we roll our ankles out, we want to make sure that our heels stay on the ground and our foot is completely relaxed. A couple of the other basic stretches that I give would be stretching out our quads, pulling that up, and just finding a balance. If you're able to, you can try stretching that straight behind you. You want to make sure that you're not opening up to the side. You want to make sure that that goes straight in alignment with your hip. Another thing we'll do is just some gentle stretches for like our hips, which kind of incorporate our hamstrings a little bit. So we'll start in the second position and just let that relax. And we can walk that to a fourth position. And make sure you get both sides in. You can also take this down into a lunge and try to find your balance. And if you can, try to camber back. Another option is to try to point your foot, keep your hips nice and square, and try to get your nose down to your knees. You can do this with your foot pointed, and you can do this with your foot flexed. I've incorporated a few other stretches as the video progresses, so that way you have a few other options for stretching. And as always, if you have any questions, be sure to let me know in class or leave me a comment in the comments below. be sure to check back tomorrow as we start talking about how to strengthen our bodies for everything that we do in the studio. I will see you then.